Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. PM Modi says Northeast emerging fast as India's powerhouse, launches several projects in energy, connectivity and healthcare in Arunachal Pradesh. Revised goods and services tax slabs come into effect, marking a historic shift in the country's indirect tax regime. New rates to ease citizens' burden. Russia denies its aircraft violated NATO airspace, accuses Estonia of making false allegations to whip up tensions. Several Western governments endorse statehood for Palestine ahead of the 80th UN General Assembly in New York. The move invites Israel's wrath. Prime Minister Narendra Modi spent the whole day today in Northeast India. Prime Minister Modi visited the states of Arunachal Pradesh and Tripura. This afternoon, the Prime Minister inaugurated redeveloped Mata Tripur Sundari Temple Complex at Mathabade in Tripura under the Pilgrimage Rejuvenation and Spiritual Heritage Augmentation Drive Prasad scheme. It is one of the ancient 51 Shaktipeeths located in Udaipur town of Gomti district in Tripura. Prime Minister Modi offered puja at the temple and paid obeisance to goddess Tripur Sundari. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also went around the temple complex, seeing the redevelopment of the Heritage Temple Complex, a centuries-old Shaktipeeth renewed with modern amenities. While preserving its sanctity, it now stands not only as a spiritual beacon, but also as a source of local prosperity. The redeveloped Mata Tripur Sundari complex will boost tourism, create employment and business opportunities, and lead to overall socio-economic development of the region. Prime Minister Narendra Modi earlier visited Arunachal Pradesh. In Itanagar, Prime Minister Modi laid the foundation stone of two major hydropower projects worth over 3,700 crore rupees. The projects are aimed at harnessing the vast hydroelectric potential and promoting sustainable energy generation in the region. Prime Minister Modi laid the foundation stone of a state-of-the-art convention centre at Tawang, located at over 9,820 feet in the frontier district of Tawang. The centre will serve as a landmark facility to host national and international conferences, cultural festivals and exhibitions. With a capacity to host over 1,500 delegates, the centre will meet global standards and support the tourism and cultural potential of the region. Addressing the gathering, Prime Minister Modi said that the Northeast is fast emerging as India's powerhouse.
हमने पूरे नॉर्थ ईस्ट के विकास के लिए बजट कई गुना बढ़ाया। हमने लास्ट माइल कनेक्टिविटी और लास्ट माइल डिलीवरी को अपनी सरकार की पहचान बनाया। और इतना ही नहीं, हमने ये पक्का किया कि सरकार दिल्ली में बैठकर नहीं चलेगी। अफसरों को, मंत्रियों को ज्यादा से ज्यादा नॉर्थ ईस्ट आना होगा, यहां रात्रि मुकाम करना होगा।
Prime Minister Modi then held a roadshow in Itanagar as his cavalcade traversed through the streets of the capital of Arunachal Pradesh. Earlier, beginning his Arunachal Pradesh visit, Prime Minister Modi met shopkeepers and traders in the backdrop of the GST Savings Festival. In line with his vision of ensuring ease of doing business and fostering a vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem, the Prime Minister handed them placards of "Garv se kaho ye swadeshi hai." This translates to "Say it with pride, this is made in India." The shopkeepers were very happy on receiving these placards and said that they would place them outside their shops. Prime Minister Modi also interacted with local taxpayers, traders and industry representatives to discuss the impact of the recent GST rate cut rationalization. Further, in a social media post on X, Prime Minister Modi wrote, and I quote him here, "This time, this auspicious occasion of Navratri is very special. Along with the GST Savings Festival, the mantra of Swadeshi is going to receive a new energy during this period. Let us come together in collective efforts for the fulfillment of the resolve for a developed and self-reliant India." PM Modi further wrote, "As the sun rose today, so did a new chapter in India's economic journey with the start of the GST Bachat Utsav. And what better place to be than Arunachal Pradesh, India's beautiful land of the rising sun." Railways, Information and Broadcasting and Information Technology Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has lauded the next generation GST reforms being implemented from today, terming them as most beneficial for the common man.
हमारे दिन में जो दैनंदिन काम में आने वाली डेली यूज की चीजें हैं, 99% चीजों पे जीएसटी की दरें कम हुई है। बहुत बड़ा हम सब के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा ये बेनिफिट है। हम सब के घरों में बचत होगी। आज से बचत का महोत्सव भी चालू होता है।
The next generation GST reforms have seen a significant reduction in rates across various edibles. And one of the key sectors is the sweet, savouries and the bakery, where the GST has been dropped to 5%, bringing cheer and smile on the faces of the consumers. Take a look at this ground report by our correspondent Dibyendu Mondal, who visited one such sweet shop in New Delhi.
As the GST rate cut gets implemented from today, and of course one of the biggest beneficiaries is the consumable items, and what it is like to be at a sweet shop, and the season of festivities has just kicked in. What are the benefits that you see in the GST rate cut? What will be the reduction in the prices when, from today it is getting implemented? How do you look at this entire GST rate cut by the government?
GST government has done tremendous job. When GST has reduced by 28 to 18 or 12, now I think two slabs are there, 18 and 5. It will affect all countrymen of the country. It is not only for one person. Either if I go to somewhere, I'll buy some medicine or something like that. It will affect to everybody. And government has done, I can't express myself. They have done a tremendous job.
Have you started reducing the price from today itself?
No, it will take some time. It will say, I think, the thing is that it is now a festival time. But definitely, what we can do, we cannot raise the prices of any sweets.
This gentleman told us is, of course, that there is not going to be any further increase in the prices across here, which people, the savouries which people take to their houses of their loved ones during the festival season is going to come down, giving much needed respite to the middle class. With camera person Vimlesh, this is the Dibyendu Model from New Delhi for DD India.
On to other international news of the day. Russia denied its aircraft violated NATO airspace and warned that countries making such accusations risked escalating tensions. In fact, Russia accused NATO member Estonia of falsely claiming that 3 Russian military jets had violated its airspace for 12 minutes on Friday, saying that Tallinn was trying to ratchet up a confrontational atmosphere.
Обороны категорически опровергло эти заявления.
Our Ministry of Defense has categorically denied those allegations. Moreover, in the statement issued by our military referenced objective control data. We have never heard the Estonian side mention that they possess any such objective control data. That's why we consider such claims to be empty, unfounded, and a part of a completely reckless campaign to escalate tensions and provoke a confrontational atmosphere.
Russia's war against Ukraine started more than 3.5 years ago, and it's changed the political and economic landscape in Europe. Now, the EU has prepared another package of sanctions against Russia, another effort to put pressure on Moscow to end its aggression. Lars Holte is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin now. Lars, thank you for being with us. What can you tell us about the latest sanctions package?
Thanks for having me. Yes, yet another initiative. This is indeed the 19th sanctions package that the EU has prepared. And you have to wonder if any of those have done anything. They have likely, of course, worsened the situation economically in Russia, but they haven't done much in terms of moving Moscow, moving Putin any closer towards ending his war in Ukraine. Anyway, there are two reasons why this 19th initiative was now put together. First of all, just over a week ago, Russian fighter drones got into Polish and Romanian airspace, and then we've seen another breach over Estonia just this weekend. So, of course, Western alliances had to respond to a violation of EU and NATO airspace. Also, US President Trump has implored the EU to join his country in levying higher tariffs against China and India, specifically for buying Russian gas. And while it's unlikely that anyone in Brussels wants to play the tariff game Trump has started, they do understand the pressure here. Trump said quite clearly that he insists on such action, otherwise he won't show any support in the ongoing struggle with Moscow. And the EU, as well as anyone in NATO, knows, of course, that US participation is absolutely necessary if they're seriously hoping to eventually end this long and deadly conflict.
Okay, Lars, what exactly are the sanctions in this new initiative?
Maybe the most important one is an earlier date for a total embargo on Russian gas. Now, it might be news to many, but some EU countries are still, to this day, receiving gas from Moscow, mostly due to old contracts. Those countries are all located in the southeastern part of Europe. Among them are Slovakia or Hungary, where President Orban has just last year even signed new delivery deals with Moscow. Now, the EU is saying that a full embargo on Russian gas, currently planned for 2028, could now come as early as 2027. Of course, that still sounds like a long ways away, but it would be costly for Moscow. Also, the EU wants to drastically restrict visa for Russian citizens, another step that, of course, comes very late. Some member countries, especially Italy, France, Spain and Greece, have still admitted lots of Russians. There could be a crackdown now. Brussels is also looking into the legality of using frozen Russian assets to directly help Ukraine, like using money technically owned by Russian oligarchs to send to Kiev to pay for weapons and ammunition and such.
And Lars, what about the news about EU putting tariffs on China and India?
Apparently, the EU is unwilling to do that. The tariff game is Trump's game, and leaders in Brussels have so far not joined in. But they do agree that they need to put more pressure on China and India, trying to lessen their support for Moscow. The EU says they might sanction Chinese and Indian banks, as well as refineries that are trading in Russian oil. Specifically, they're talking about 12 Chinese and 3 Indian entities. We're also hearing that the EU wants to add more chemicals, metal components, salts and ores to existing export bans on Russian, Chinese and Indian companies. Let me quote one of the EU parliamentarians involved in the making of this sanctions package. It's true, she says, that we have to tackle the bypassing of sanctions to third-party countries like China and India. But she also says technically they don't need Trump calling for such measures. In fact, she says the EU should in turn ask Trump to put pressure on Hungary's Orban and Slovakia's Fico himself. After all, he considers them friendly, and it's their countries that are the ones still buying Russian gas.
Thank you very much, Lars Holte, for all those updates. Moving on now, in Mexico City, the death toll has risen to 29 from the gas truck explosion. The blast tore through the Iztapalapa district, leaving widespread devastation. The truck carrying nearly 50,000 liters of fuel overturned and exploded on 10th of September in eastern Mexico City. The powerful blast damaged vehicles and buildings, sparking chaos across the area. According to officials, 16 people remain hospitalized, while 39 others have been discharged. Rescue and recovery work continues as authorities investigate the cause of the accident. You're watching DD India Live, still to come on the show. High stakes India-US trade talks to begin in Washington today, just as External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will meet US Secretary of State Marco Rubio on the sidelines of the UNGA in New York. Thousands pay their last respects to Zubin Garg, the late musical maestro and cultural icon of Assam. And at Busan International Film Festival, India pushes for international co-productions.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I am Tanvi Taneja. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is in New York to attend the 80th anniversary of the United Nations General Assembly. Today, he's expected to meet US Secretary of State Marco Rubio. According to the US advisory, the meet is expected at 11 a.m. EST. The meeting would be the first one since Trump's 50% tariff imposition on India. Interestingly, the meeting comes on a day when India-US trade talks also take place in the US. A high-level delegation led by Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal will visit the United States to hold discussions on India-US trade deal. The delegation aims to advance ongoing trade negotiations towards the early conclusion of a mutually beneficial trade pact between India and the US. The discussions expected to be focused on strengthening bilateral trade, investment and economic cooperation across all sectors. During the last visit of the team of officials from the Office of US Trade Representative to India on 16 September, positive discussions were held on various aspects of the trade deal, and it was decided to intensify efforts in this regard. The UK is set to push for a peace plan for the Middle East at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York after recognizing the state of Palestine. Britain, Canada and Australia announced formal recognition of the state of Palestine on Sunday in an attempt to pile pressure on Israel. The decision by 4 nations from the West, aligned with more than 140 other countries, also backing Palestinians' aspiration to forge an independent homeland from the occupied territories. Other nations, including France, are expected to follow suit this week at the UNGA. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemned the move, while Hamas welcomed it, saying it must be accompanied by practical measures to end the conflict in Gaza and prevent Israel from annexing the West Bank. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas said that the recognition would help pave the way for the state of Palestine to live side by side with the state of Israel in security, peace and good neighborliness. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump made it clear previously that he opposes such a move. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu categorically rejected the one-sided declaration of recognition of Palestine by the UK, Australia and Canada. In a statement, he said, and I quote him here, I have a clear message to those leaders who are recognizing a Palestinian state after the horrendous October 7th massacre. You are rewarding terror with an enormous prize, and I have another message for you. It's not going to happen. There will be no Palestinian state to the west of the Jordan River. For years, I have prevented the creation of that terror state against tremendous pressure, both domestic and abroad. We have done this with determination and with astute statesmanship. Moreover, we have doubled the Jewish settlement in Judea and Samaria, and we will continue on this path. The response to the latest attempt to force upon us a terror state in the heart of our land will be given after my return from the US. Stand by. And next, we take a look at other stories making news across the world. In Akwa Ibom, Nigeria, young percussionists rehearse on traditional xylophones, creating rhythmic melodies. Established in 2023, the group has become a local sensation, performing across the region at various events. The rehearsal is in preparation for an 80th birthday celebration, where they will showcase the cultural sounds of Akwa Ibom. The xylophone remains a key part of local ceremonies, though there are concerns that its heritage is being overshadowed by Western instruments. In Cambodia, Kandal province, hundreds gathered at Vihar Suar Pagoda on Monday to watch buffalo and horse races on the final day of the Festival of the Dead. The two-week festival, which began on 8th of September, showcases people offering food, drinks and money to monks, believing that these reach their deceased ancestors. The festival honors the memory of over 1 million victims of the Khmer Rouge regime while celebrating tradition. Next news from India. Vice President C.P. Radhakrishnan released 4 books on selected speeches of Prime Minister Narendra Modi titled Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas at the Vice President's enclave in New Delhi. Rajya Sabha Deputy Chairman Harivansh, Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting Ashwini Vaishnav, Secretary to the Vice President Amit Khare and INB Ministry Secretary Sanjay Jaju were also present at the event. These books will be available through the publication division and its 10 regional sales centers and also on leading e-commerce platforms. A book exhibition has also been curated showcasing all the previously published volumes of the Prime Minister's speeches along with the day's new releases. Vice President Radhakrishnan said that Prime Minister Modi is a living inspiration for millions of people in the country and abroad.
Our Prime Minister has grown from being a representative of the common man to the true people's leader, whose determination has shown us how the impossible can be made possible. Though 50% duty has been put on India by America, but Trump is always saying, Modi ji is my great friend. Even that situation, he has not said, I am against Modi, but he is always telling, I am for Modi.
India is making a strong creative presence at the Busan International Film Festival. Today, a special roundtable was held with the Busan Film Commission to discuss film collaborations and co-productions between India and Korea. DD India's Jaya Sinha brings us more from Busan.
The roundtable held at Bexco brought together senior representatives from India's Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, the Busan Film Commission, and leading filmmakers from both the countries. India is participating with its strongest ever contingent, led by Minister of State Dr. L. Murugan, along with senior officials and creators from the Waves Bazaar initiative. India made a special presentation at the roundtable, highlighting its strong push for international co-productions. From single window clearances to subsidies of up to 40% for foreign filmmakers, India is opening its doors wider than ever.
India deeply values such platforms that enable dialogues and cooperation in the creative sector. This festival hope that our country resolves to expand co-production, create new opportunities in the AVGC sector, animation, visual effects, gaming and comics sector, and strengthen cultural bonds with South Korea.
The discussions focused on expanding co-productions, sharing creative expertise, and exploring incentives for international filmmakers to shoot in India. Industry leaders highlighted the potential of combining Korea's technical excellence with India's diverse storytelling.
I think this kind of conversation is really timely because as a producer, thinking about quality improvement and reducing the cost, and this is about developing new market for us. So in this era of global streamers, all the changings and everything that happens, I think as a producer, I think I could take a lot of good benefits out of this whole conversation. I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, actually, I just recently wrapped a Indo-Korea project that will be released on the Netflix Korea, US, and India. And then the cultural similarities were stunning. I was in Chennai filming for 3 weeks, and then so many similar stories, so many similar aspects from our cultures. The future for the Indo-Korea collaboration is quite bright, and then a lot of producers seem to be interested in Korea to pursue such stories.
This dialogue gave a platform to bring Indian stories to a global audience and work closely with Korean filmmakers.
After this discussion initiated by Government of India and the Korean Embassy, I am very hopeful, and I hope that it will bring some possibilities to the new filmmakers also, individual filmmakers also.
At the roundtable, India showcased a major policy push for international co-productions. With this much-needed government support, India is positioning itself as one of the world's most attractive filmmaking destinations.
Today's roundtable between the Busan Film Commission and India marked yet another step in strengthening cinema ties, with India showcasing its strongest ever contingent in BIF and new opportunities in co-production. The dialogue has paved way for deeper creative collaboration. This is Jaya Sinha for DD India in Busan with camera person N.A. Shivakumar.
Thousands of fans and well-wishers showed up to pay their last respects to Zubin Garg, the musical maestro and cultural icon of Assam. The cremation of the legendary singer Zubin Garg will be held on 23rd September at a designated site in Sonapur, Guwahati. The decision was taken by Assam government in consultation with his family members. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.